Hey, happy Friday, everybody. Cinephile Mike here, and we have reached the end of our first week of double rewind goodness. Hope you found some good films to beat the heat with this week. And for episode 30 of Oscar Rewind, we are going to have a grand old time. I promised you something lighter, and I'm definitely going to deliver. If this is your first time tuning in, here on Oscar Rewind, I revisit the films that reflect the work of this past year's Oscar nominees and winners. I dig deep into their IMDb profiles, and my hope is that you are going to discover a new, older favorite, or maybe revisit something you haven't seen in a while. As always, I'll be discussing the recent Oscar connection, awards history for the film, box office information, critical response, and as always, these reviews are spoiler-free. Before I jump in, do me a quick favor, click that subscribe button. You definitely don't want to miss all the cinematic goodness coming your way on Rewind. All right, today, for Friday, I am looking at DreamWorks Animation and Aardman Features' delightful 2005 film, Wallace and Gromit, The Curse of the Were-Rabbit. Written by the team that includes the co-directors Steve Box and Nick Park, they were joined on the screenplay by Mark Burton and Bob Baker. Released in the fall of 2005, this was historical, marking the first time our favorite inventor and his trusted bestie jumped from animated shorts to feature films. A massive box office success on a reported budget of $30 million. The film made almost double that domestically alone, with a total of $56,110,897, and then dominated internationally, making an additional $136,670,985 for a worldwide total of $192,781,882. Critically, like most projects in this vein, the film is certified fresh on both sides with a 95% critical rating from 184 reviews and a fresh popcorn meter of 79% from over 10,000 audience reviews. Award season-wise, this film was successful where it won the Best Animated Film of the Year at the Oscars, the Annie Awards, the BAFTAs, the Critics' Choice Awards, the New York Films Critics Circle Awards, and the PGA Awards, amongst many other accolades. The film won 2/3 of its award season, taking home 41 total prizes out of 66 nominations. So why are we here today? Well, this is the second time this season alone Wallace and Gromit are appearing on Rewind. Nick Park was nominated this year for co-directing Wallace and Gromit: Vengeance Most Foul alongside Merlin Crossingham, who I discussed earlier in June with his documentary Grand Night In, looking back on the history of Wallace and Gromit. For my review of that, you can scroll back into Rewind in the Rewind Season 2 playlist, and also for my 5-star review of Wallace and Gromit: Vengeance Most Foul, you can find that in the Award Season Reviews Season 3 playlist. So, let's check in with our favorite duo. If there's one thing everyone looks forward to, it's the yearly Harvest Festival and the giant vegetable competition that has been held for hundreds of years at Tottington Hall. Our favorite inventor, Wallace, voiced here by Peter Sallis, and Gromit, are running Anti-Pesto, a company that provides a humane option to clear rabbits and other pestos out of the gardens of the town's residents, providing traps and alarms to protect their vegetables. Now, this is crucial, folks, because everyone here wants to win the Golden Carrot at the festival hosted by Tottie, or Lady Tottington, voiced by Helena Bonham Carter. Things are going well for our team, especially when they are able to use their new Bunvac 6000, a giant vacuum that collects all of the rabbits. Now, the one person this doesn't sit too well with is Lord Victor Quatermain, voiced by Ray Fiennes, a nobleman who, along with his trusty companion, Philip the Bull Terrier, would rather hunt these rabbits down. And not only does Victor not too fond of Wallace because he's able to solve the rabbit problems, but he kind of sees him edging his way in with his lady. Now, Once the rabbits are collected, Lady Tottington is thrilled because she doesn't want them to be harmed. She believes in the humane treatment of animals. She wishes she could let them stay on her grounds if they wouldn't eat the vegetables. And this gives Wallace an idea. Using one of his inventions, the mind manipulation omatic, he attempts to use behavioral modification on the bunnies, training them to not like vegetables. Now, in doing so, he makes a small mistake that ends up seemingly causing one of the bunnies to have an adverse reaction to this experiment. And when the bunny that we learn that they name Hutch and Wallace are kind of trapped, Gromit is able to destroy the machine to separate the two. And, things seem to be okay. They think that their experiment worked. Hutch does not want the vegetables. Gromit is okay. And everything is wonderful. Now we can let the rabbits roam. However, you saw the title of this film. Very soon there is an attack by the rather large rabbit that begins targeting all of the vegetables. We learn that this is the were rabbit. Thank you to the local vicar who's able to identify this beast that broke through the stained glass window and attacked the vegetables in the church. Now, our pair will need to set out to save the day because they believe that they are responsible for creating whatever is consuming all of these vegetables. And there is something even more sinister at play, as it will take our fair duo to do everything they can to prevent Victor Quartermain from tracking down and killing this creature that means no harm other than to eat his way through. And some of this may hit a little closer to home than Wallace and Gromit care for. As always, there is a lot of cheeky adventure and antics in this, yes, predictable, but really enjoyable watch. These films, Aardman, whether it's Wallace and Gromit, Shaun the Sheep, Chicken Run, they really walk the line perfectly between wholesome entertainment for the kids and also that quick British wit and sight gags to entertain the adults without, going too far. And with this one, I have to say I was a little impressed because Vengeance Most Foul was PG rated. This one came out 20 years ago and was G rated, and the fact that they were able to maintain that was a little impressive. There's one joke that really slipped by, which was very funny, where a male character is caught exposed. We don't see anything. We see them from here up, and then quickly they are handed a box that's labeled, cheese, and a sticker that says may contain nuts. So it's little pieces like this that I love that they're able to, sneakily slide in there to keep the humor approachable for everyone. And also with this film, more so than with the other ones where they kind of give everything away, this one, they really did a nice job setting up the red herring as we try to dissect the mystery of who the were-rabbit is. And, when the reveal is made, it's entertaining, to say the least. I want to shout out, this was one of the last times Peter Sallis played Wallace. He retired in 2010, and then he passed away a few years ago. So, Ben Whitehead has been the voice replacing him since he retired. He did Vengeance Most Foul, and he's able to capture Sallis's tone, but hearing the OG Wallace really brought a smile to my face when I went back to rewatch this one. You can feel that warmth. And also, maybe it's weird because I had just watched a couple of Harry Potter films, so after seeing Ralph Fiennes and Helena Bonham Carter as Voldemort and Bellatrix, now kind of hearing them go quipping back and forth as Lady Tottington and Victor Quartermain was quite entertaining since they're like an affianced couple. So there was some interesting imagery there in my head. And look, we actually also get a fun little antagonist, not just for Wallace to face, but also for Gromit. I have to appreciate there's a real fun scene in the climax between Philip and Gromit that is definitely going to get a chuckle out of you. And while we ultimately know, look, in this film, we are going to get to the happy ending. These are children's films. This journey is more enjoyable to go on because you have to go along to solve the mystery. We don't get everything up front. So, when we get those moments, it's a great payoff. And, before I move on, let me also shout out Peter Kay, who voices Chief McIntosh, who's in Vengeance Most Foul. This was his first appearance as that character. So, seeing him as the law enforcer that's just trying to make things known is also very funny. Julian Knott's earwormy score, he's been doing these since the 80s with the shorts. As soon as that music starts, you're right in the zone. You know what you're getting into. Nick Park was well deserving of the nomination this year. I mean, look, any Wallace and Gromit project, maybe I'm a little biased. They deserve that honor of nominations. I saw that movie in January and I said, this is going to win the best animated feature. I was convinced that it would until I saw Flow, which won. And you know what? Flow did kind of push above Wallace and Gromit for me. I'm sorry, Aardman, if any of you see this. Love all your products. No surprise here. Look, Wallace and Gromit, The Curse of the Were-Rabbit is a 5-star film. Very enjoyable. And after all the heaviness I brought you this week, I promise something lighter. If you have not seen Wallace and Gromit, The Curse of the Were-Rabbit, or you would like to catch it and rewatch, it is streaming as of this recording and posting on Netflix. Also worth noting, this film, The Curse of the Were-Rabbit, still sits as the second highest and most successful stop-motion animated film behind another Aardman DreamWorks collaboration, Chicken Run. Some reports show Coraline is above this, but when you look at worldwide box office take, Curse of the Were-Rabbit pulls above. Alrighty, so I hope everyone is happy that we're back with Rewind. This is the end of our first week of Double Rewind. Next week, we're going to wrap up our director set and also start to look at some of the writers of this past year's Oscar-nominated winning films. I will see everyone next Tuesday. As always, if you like what you heard here, please click that button, subscribe to the channel, like and share the video, get people in the conversation. It's so much fun to talk with other folks. You can follow me, Cinephile Mike, on all social media platforms and on Letterboxd. And again, find lots of great additional cinematic goodness on my website, cinephilemike.com. All right, happy watching, everyone. And until next time, this is Cinephile Mike saying take a break and watch something new.